If you're a helpless student transported to a different world only to receive the worst ability, you probably think it's game over for you, right? Wrong. Because if you explore this terrible ability like Sora, you will quickly discover that one can farm S-tier skills by literally just walking, as well as meeting new companions, and finding yourself a special fairy spirit that no one else can even see. Are you curious to see how Sora unlocks the full potential of this skill? Let's find out by diving right into this wholesome story. Sitting under the beautiful night sky with his spirit, a boy witnesses the beauty of the world. He claims to have no interest in becoming a hero and instead wishes to travel as far as he possibly can in this miraculous world. The story begins in the present, where Sora is seen carrying heavy luggage despite his small stature. The people make fun of him at first but quickly become baffled to note that he can easily carry the weight without stress. Sora was summoned in this particular world as a hero candidate. It's a different world where there aren't any cars, and the world hasn't developed modern technology or discovered the realm of science. The reason he was summoned and could live comfortably in this world is because of his unique skill called walking. This skill was bestowed upon him the moment he set foot in this world, and he found great joy in it. Sora and his spirit, Seal, are also capable of activating cleaning magic when necessary, and impressing those around him. Since he switches jobs often, people wonder what his next job is going to be. Sora is apparently starting at the castle, bringing back his memories of the day he was summoned to this other world. Only 1 month ago, the Emperor welcomed the 7 hero candidates, except Sora was still left confused upon entering this world as he was only on his way to his high school's entrance ceremony. With a sudden flash of light, he was already transported here. The Emperor introduced the lot to the Kingdom of Alessia, and claimed that he summoned them all to his place. The king wanted these heroes to defeat the recently resurrected Demon Lord. However, Sora had no idea what he was talking about. The Emperor decided to explain further by directing the heroes to touch the special crystal right in front of them, which seemed to be a mana gauging device. With one candidate touching the crystal, Shun was declared the Sword King with his abilities, while Sora fretted over his own. The king introduced the heroes to the status panel, where summoned heroes have a superior status and a variety of different skills. He wanted all of these skills to be deployed in order to take down the ruthless Demon King. The Emperor deemed the entire cast as special candidates and stated that they were chosen to become heroes. The rest of the candidates quickly touched the item and were revealed to be a Sorcerer King, a Saint, a Spirit Mage, a Paladin, and lastly, a Master Swordsman. The group thought that they were special heroes thanks to their abilities, and even Sora was left in awe of the event. The Emperor seemed the most overjoyed and told the candidates to use a status open chant in order to check their stats panel. He also especially pointed out to Sora, who was the final remaining candidate out of the group. Sora was excited, wondering what kind of skill he would be getting, just like the others. Sora Fujimiya eventually touched the crystal, and to everyone's sheer horror and surprise, his skill was revealed to be walking, with the only benefit being that he couldn't get tired from it. Bro took the fattest L instantly. Obviously, Sora and the others lost their marbles, wondering how he could use such a lame skill to defeat the Demon King. Immediately, the Emperor discarded the 7th hero and considered only the first 6 to be the chosen candidates. He strictly told the group that in order to return to their original world, they needed to defeat the Demon King and take his magic stone, as even though it may be a very painful journey, it was something that they were tasked with. Sora, on the other hand, was left with utter embarrassment as a knight directed him outside the castle and tossed the boy on the ground. Sora thought that it was unfair for him to be getting such treatment and realized that his tiny little satchel had a handful of money inside. He didn't know how to operate in this unique world and was mesmerized by what he saw. He noticed buildings made of brick and stone with oddly dressed people. It was no different than being in a video game. Sora ran as fast as he could and hid in an alley, thinking that he was all alone in this world and didn't have much to do. He believed that it was indeed unfair for the king to throw him out just because of his odd status skill. Sora commanded open his chant, which popped open his stats. He noticed an experience counter. He noticed that his ability allowed him to gain 1 experience point with each step, which means the number of steps he's taken until now has granted him an immense amount of XP points. That's the fastest way to level up? Whoa. Sora wondered what would happen as a result of gaining enough experience points and couldn't contain his hunger. Things got worse, however, when he saw a grumpy butcher horrifically looking right at him. Sora apologized and begged for his life, thinking that he was about to get stabbed. To his shock, this guy is actually pretty nice. He offered him a grilled skewer, noticing the boy's difficulty in navigating through this world. Bro is an S-tier Sigma male. respect. Sora is surprised by his forward and kind attitude and thinks of offering him money, but the man tells him that it's actually too much money for the price, and that he would get ripped off if he pulled this stunt in a different village. He informed Sora about the currency of this world, as 100 regular coins equaled 1 copper coin, while 100 copper coins equaled 1 silver coin. The repetition follows from silver to gold to platinum, and his skewers were only just a singular copper coin with 8 regular coins. Pretty easy to follow, right? Sora thanked the man and realized that he leveled up at the same time. He noticed that he had obtained a skill point upon his level up and observed the skills at the bottom that he could learn using the point he had just obtained. Sora thinks that he needs to equip his appraisal skills and spend his skill points to acquire them. Now, he's miraculously able to inspect the skewered wolf meat and its properties with finesse. Sora is happy to learn that he can gain new skills by walking his way through experience points and wants to obtain a skill different from appraisal. He chews on the delicious wolf meat and is overwhelmed by its flavor. The butcher is glad that he likes his food and asks for his name. Sora introduces himself, and the butcher offers to help the boy since he knows that he is troubled. Man, this guy is the goat. After that, Sora got a cloak to blend in with the villagers and was in debt to the man who helped him so much. He doesn't feel tired despite walking his way through the town and finds new hope in the power of his skill. Sora comes to the garments shop to purchase new clothes and takes his dear time to grab an outfit. After his selection, he feels no different than being in an RPG game and purchasing the item for 3 gold coins. Bro is fully dripped out, let's go. Sora then comes back to the man in his dashing new outfit and thanks him for everything. Sora wanted to pay the man his debt, and so the butcher asked him for an appropriate favor. He wanted Sora to deliver a package of meat over to an inn operated by his friend Ollie. Sora is delighted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone as he has been looking for a place to stay as well. Sora receives various other items from the butcher in his bag and thinks that it's actually a useful application of his skill to carry weight without burden. He casually walks without sweat despite the luggage and surprises the butcher with his ability. Sora realizes that it's a mountain that he must traverse, which is considered a knoll in this world. He thought that his old self would have quit by this point, but because of his walking skills, he felt like he could do everything while observing the pretty features of birds. He inspects the beautiful rainbow-tailored bird using his appraisal skill, and reflects on how he's never seen anything like it before. He earnestly wants to explore this world to the fullest and found a motivation to pursue it. Sora thought that walking was indeed a great skill, and despite being at a loss after he was kicked out of the castle, the people of the village treated him in kind in a world he knew nothing about. His expectations skyrocketed once he saw the beautiful city landscape. Sora didn't know what to do at first, but eventually he found his only goal in life, to use his walking skills to see more of the wonderful blue world. That is his tale as a failed summoned hero whose goal is to quench his curiosity about this strange new world as he embarks on a riveting and unique journey. Only yesterday was he summoned to the royal kingdom of Alessia. Sora wakes up to find out that it wasn't a dream at all and shares his first ever morning after coming to this world. He wanted to look for a job at once and was eager to search for it. Sora came to his butcher friend and explained his desire to find a job. The man happily inquired about the boy's skills, as alchemy or creating potions was quite in demand. Sadly, Sora knew nothing about such skills, leading the butcher to suggest a place where no special skills are needed. He tells Sora that there is a place where many job offers come flying in, which means he would certainly be interested. He gives Sora directions to a building, and he heads away immediately to find the Spectacular Adventurers Guild. Sora is amazed to reaffirm his belief in this world being a full-fledged RPG game and wonders what kind of people are a part of the guild. Sora excitedly opens the door, only to find out that there is a fight going on between 2 muscular men. Sora is only navigating his way through when he gets elbowed straight to the face by accident, and winces, which is opposite to his expectations. The receptionist also accidentally drops her stack of books on top of the boy, burying him all over. Sora makes his request to register in the guild, and Mikaru, who is the receptionist, apologizes in kind for their rudeness. Sora forwards himself as a person looking to be employed, and Mikaru happily extends him a form to register with. Sora slices a bit of his finger as per the registration requirements and signs with his blood. Sora officially became part of the Adventurers Guild, with Mikaru explaining that he was currently ranky, which is why his card is also white. She casually called our boy trash right away. The guild has ranks from E to S, from the lowest to the highest. She also introduces him to the wall of requests put up by the villagers, which he can use to assign himself an easy job to complete. Completing the request would allow him to gain new points to raise his rank, and on the other hand, if he fails the request, Sora will be penalized. Sora was a little underconfident, thinking of himself as inferior compared to the rest. But Mikaru comforted him, stating that there were many things he could do within his capabilities. Sora read through a number of different requests, one of which was the task of defeating a wolf, something he found himself incapable of doing. Dude dodged a bullet right there. Sora is stunned when a macho man with a scary getup scolds him for believing that he could take down a wolf. Sora anxiously tried to explain his side and quickly picked a handful of jobs that required other skills. He was left with a disappointing impression that the guild may not be the best fit for him. Sora brought over the pile of requests to Mikaru, who thought that he was taking many requests at once. In his defense, Sora stated that he was just afraid of the intimidated man and picked the pile at random, not knowing the right job for himself. Bro looks like Bane from Batman. I'd be scared too, WTF. Mikaru introduced him to the packages for his delivery, which were quite a lot. Sora disappointedly exited the guild, reflecting on how he had never met such a scary-looking man in Japan, as he would never get involved with such people in school. He thinks that common sense is different in this world and still has doubts about himself being capable of surviving. Sora strengthened his resolve and wanted to do his first job of delivering the goods to commercial guilds. He delivered the various items to each respective designation, concluding his service. By the end, Sora thought about how there were many guilds in the world, and he also somehow got ice cream for free. Hahaha, well, at least he has ice cream. Sora also realized that he didn't get tired from his job at all, even with all of the walking that he did. He opened his status screen, realizing that he had gotten to level 6 by just walking. Sora noticed that his experience level increased by 1,000 every time he leveled up, which meant that he would have to walk 6,000 more steps to get to level 7. Sora took note of his increasing skill points along with his levels and realized that he could gain more skills with them. With his final delivery, Sora meets a dazzling lady and quickly tells her that he has brought a letter from a man called Rai Renova. Because of his announcement, the lady instantly barges open the door and snaps away the letter before closing it again. Sora reminds her that she's supposed to sign the document, and so she hands him another letter, urging the boy to send the letter to Rai. Sora took the letter and eagerly wondered about its contents. At Rai's house, he brought the letter on Vanessa's behalf. Rai becomes visibly flustered, realizing that he sent the love letter while drunk, and is engulfed by his embarrassment. Sora realized that this was the reason Vanessa reacted strangely. Sora cheered up Rai, and they finally opened the response letter. Sora excitedly asked about the outcome, and Rai displayed a broad smile, claiming that it was successful. On his way back, Sora thought about how he never expected something like that to happen on his first delivery, and headed back to report the completion of his quests to the guild. However, just entering the place caused him to receive the stares of brooding and grumpy men. Sora happily reported his successful deliveries to Mikaru, who thinks that it's pretty astonishing how he's not even tired from all of that work. I mean, of course, that's his only ability, lol. Mikaru also curiously asked about the outcome between Rai and Vanessa's letters. Sora happily reports that it was a huge success, which had him receive the praise of all the people in the guild as they celebrated the success. The people offered their newest delivery boy a treat as one of the men explained that Rai's unrequited love was known for 27 years, and so it was a necessary means of celebration. Bro is a mad lad for pursuing love for 3 decades. Sora didn't anticipate such a reaction from the people and became instantly intimidated once he saw the scary-looking man again. The man exclaimed that he was surprised how the boy carried the entire load on his back and successfully completed the task. He compliments the boy, whereas Sora thinks he is about to kill him. Sora soon realized that the people here weren't malicious, but rather they were only caring about his well-being in his own way in spite of their appearance. One of the men brought Rai himself into the guild as they celebrated the man's successful relationship. Sora congratulated them as the wholesome day came to an end, with the boy's ever-growing love for his new world. At Ollie's Inn, a week after being summoned to the world, Sora happily woke up and immersed himself in better understanding the world by completing more quests. He made new friends, and his service as a delivery man soon became quite popular as the people of the village especially wanted him to deliver. Sora also leveled up, gaining new knowledge about his status panel. He realized that his stats and skill points rose in the same way, with his appraisal skill leveling up the more he used it. Sora wondered if he should learn new skills other than appraisal and couldn't decide on any. His landlady pointed out the boy's excited mood as Sora celebrated his first day going out of town. Sora chose 4 skills from his skill points: presence detection, body enhancement, daily life magic, and mana manipulation. Well, our boy got some new weapons. He tried to initiate daily life magic at first and instantly cleaned himself with his skill. Back at the Adventurers Guild, Sora met up with Mikaru and was excited to report that he received his first request to go out of town. Mikaru reported that the gathering place was outside the city and wondered if Sora's equipment would be okay for the task. Sora decides to buy something when Mr. Siphon tags along and tells Sora that he wants to show him a good place to buy equipment as the store owner has really good stuff. Sora is brought to the owner, who seems to be an aged man with many weapons and suits of armor in his shop. Siphon informed this man about the boy's need for equipment as he questions Sora's skill set. Sora is embarrassed to state that he can't do much but wants a sword just in case. The owner tasks him with bringing the sword over to him, and Sora decides to grasp onto the sword, which is unexpectedly heavy in its size. The owner realizes that this boy is basically an amateur and thinks that he shouldn't go out of town as a beginner. He recommended that Sora go out with some muscle by his side and decided to give the boy a dagger for emergency purposes. Siphon advised Sora to work hard to raise his level. Sora recalls how swordsmanship is actually a skill that he can learn from his status panel. He immediately decides to spend his skill points and acquire the skill. Sora then wields another sword and shocks everyone with his excellent sword skills. The owner and Siphon are both left baffled. Sora also spends a price on armor and is greeted with a sizable suit. The store owner thinks that this boy was fooling around in the beginning and tells Sora that this breastplate is made of rare dragon skin, which is comfortable enough to wear even under his clothes. That swordsmanship skill saved his dumbass haha. With that, Sora acquires his all-new equipment and thanks Siphon for bringing him over to the place. He stood right in front of the gate for the first time as he was about to go outside the royal capital. Sora's ID was checked by one of the guards as he bid him farewell on his journey. With the gates finally opening, Sora ventures out on his journey to meet the challenges of the outside world. The sunlight and the smell of wind comfort the boy as he continues his journey in a world filled with unprecedented wonder. He is ecstatic but surprisingly realizes that his running makes him tired as his walking skills are limited. Sora decides to rest for a while, recalling how his quest is to gather a herb from a specific area. The medicinal herbs were used for potion making, and Sora thought that by trailing through the map, he should find what he was looking for. I mean, no shtick Sherlock. Sora was met with the sight of a few similar-looking weeds and, thankfully, used his appraisal skill to especially inspect the herb he needed. Sora extracted the medical herb and thought that the herb was of excellent quality to make potions. He also finds mana grass and moonweed, which are both part of different quests for him to fulfill. After an hour of extracting the necessary weeds, Sora finds himself a little exhausted and realizes that his appraisal skill experienced an upgrade thanks to his continuous usage of it. Exactly then, he felt the presence of a beast from behind and clutched onto his sword, waiting in anticipation to strike. Sora is stunned when the big and grueling beast turns out to be a cute little spirit monster. Sora is in love with the cuteness of the fluffy animal and decides to feed it some stuff. Even though the monster devours the food whole, it is saddened as it is not up to its liking. Sora is also surprised when he finds that this little creature can fly. The spirit hops on his head as they begin their collective adventures together. Sora introduces himself, except he finds himself staggered because of his presence detection skill. Sora knows that many beasts are approaching him and wants to run immediately. A pack of wolves charges ahead against two girls, who seem to be under attack by the girls as Sora bears witness. The pack of wolves fiercely overwhelm the two girls. Sora doesn't know if they are adventurers of some sort and notes how their gear is torn from their battle. One of the girls seems to be capable of wielding two swords at once, while the other is some kind of mage with a staff, more tired than even the swordsman. Sora read about these wolves in the guild library, and it is safe to say they are cunning creatures known for their agile movements. Sora notices how the swordsman, in this case, is quite skilled, except there are far too many wolves for her to handle, pushing them into quite the pinch. Sora is worried about their fight and knows that the swordsman is struggling to protect the both of them. Damn, bro is yapping while they're fighting for their lives. Even though the spectacle is happening right in front of him, he doesn't know what to do as he has never been in a fight in his 15 years. Sora unsheathes his sword in an effort to help while one of the wolves takes down the swordsman's blade. For their finishing assault, the three wolves are about to take out the two girls. Sora senses that they are in dire danger and, in a state of sudden reflex, throws his blade, taking down one of the beasts, and allowing the swordsman the opportunity to take down two more. For the final wolf, this one is headed to kill Sora, who doesn't want to give up and hopes to catch the sword on the ground. Sora successfully makes it in time and, in a heroic fashion, impales the wolf with his blade, securing his victory and saving the lives of the two girls. The swordsman extends him a hand for his valiant efforts. Ruruka and Chris meet him in kind and want him to dismantle the wolves for a happy meal together. With the defeat of the wolves, Ruruka cuts apart the wolf's flesh, while Sora is having a hard time bearing the sight and smell as his first experience as an adventurer. Ruruka is shocked that he's able to take down two wolves despite his first rodeo, while Sora believes that it was just luck. His hands tremble at the thought of killing a living thing for the first time, and he recalls just how easily he threw the blade without thinking. Sora wonders what he experienced during that time, as it was quite unlike him as a person. Ruruka offers to teach him how to dismantle the monster meat, as it is worth quite a bit of money. Chris is told to rest while Ruruka teaches Sora how to do the cutting. Sora discovered more about the girls, who were both D-rank adventurers, as a party of two. They had gone into the forest on a request to get a killer bee honey but eventually found themselves attacked by a pack of wolves. Things became troublesome, and Chris ran out of mana too. Ruruka thinks that their honey quest may have just been ruined, but Sora is more or less flustered seeing their outfits as his head becomes flooded with thoughts. Ruruka tells him that the magic stone is in the organ next to the heart, which costs a lot of money. Sora is naturally displeased to even look at the organ. Finally, Ruruka's dismantling results come clean, while Sora's dismantling results are no different than trash. And so are his current skills, haha. Sora tells the two to wait and activates his cleaning magic, instantly cleaning them up in sparkling condition. Ruruka and Chris are amazed by his ability, as not many are capable of using it, while Sora reflects on how he didn't expect this ability to be rare at all. Sora tightens his bag and tells the girls that he's strong enough to carry the hefty luggage. The group decides to head back to the royal capital with all of their quests fulfilled. As he is about to leave, Sora wonders where the cute and fluffy beast went and heads back after completing his first out-of-town quest. At the Adventurers Guild, Ruruka and Chris are greeted by Mikaru, who is surprised that Sora is tagging along. They welcome Mikaru with a bunch of materials, including wolf meat. Sora struggles with a lot of things and presents his herbs. Mikaru wonders what happened to the original Killer Bee quest assigned to them as a party. Chris and Ruruka apologize for their situation. However, the guild master himself makes a sudden appearance and confirms that there is a pack of wolves near the capital. He furiously claims that wolves don't even frequent the beginners area, and issues an emergency meeting for the rank B parties to gather at once. The guild master tells Mikaru to inform the castle and also the other guilds, and offers Sora's group a warning to be careful in the future. The guild master leaves Sora and his friends in a tense mood, while Ruruka is glad that they were able to sell the wolf meat at least. Sora doesn't want to accept half of the reward money as part of his collaboration, but Ruruka and Chris insist that he does and also invite him out for dinner. The two girls go off their way and remind him to eat with them. Ruruka notices how Chris is awfully silent and wonders if she has fallen for the boy. A flustered Chris runs off, leaving Sora to wonder what they were talking about. Uo, someone's in love. Sora thinks that if his status were better, then he would have been a part of the other candidate heroes. He wonders how they are doing and returns to his inn. Later, Sora finds himself sharing a meal with the other two girls and is delighted to eat the savory wolf meat. Ruruka is glad that he considers the meal to his liking and asks if he is from another country. Sora ambiguously states that he's from far away and tells them that there's no point in not knowing the name of the place. Ruruka asks if he's an adventurer in this country, and Sora casually states that his wish is to walk across the world as far as his feet can carry him. His sincere declaration of a dream dazzles Chris and Ruruka, as they share how they're also travelers who flock from one country to another and will be staying in this one for a while. Now comes the real reason for the invitation to dinner. Ruruka and Chris formally ask for Sora to join them at their party. Sora, being the way he is shocked that he's being invited to a party of D-ranked members while he himself is a lowly rank E. Ruruka explains that he's been honest with them the entire time and is unafraid to express his real self. Because of his honesty, they want to go on many adventures with him. Pumped by the invitation, Sora requests the two to take care of him as their party is banded. Sora asks about their place of origin, and Ruruka explains that they're from the Republic of Eldo. It's not a place recommended for living, while Sora thinks that it is one of the 7 powers. This world is actually divided into 7 great powers, which are like continents. These include the xenophobic Empire of Borshale, the Kingdom of Alessia, the Republic of Eldo, the Beast Kingdom of Ras, the Holy Kingdom of Freren, the Sorceress Nation of Effa, and finally, the Dragon Kingdom of Refle. The 7 great powers were long kept in balance until 10 years ago. The Borshale Empire declared war on the Eldo Republic, a war that spread throughout the Seven Powers and exhausted the world with no end in sight. At that time, the priests of the Holy Kingdom of Frerin received a revelation that followed the rebirth of the Demon King. In order to repel the newly appeared and strong monsters, the seven great powers agreed to a ceasefire in order to fight them off. The monsters surge until this day, appearing in the dark forest and continuing their attack on the two neighboring countries. Dude, these monsters seem like nasty business. Sora realizes that the war was the reason their village was reduced to rubble. Ruruka and Chris took on various jobs during their travel and obviously went through many hardships. In admiration for their resolve, Sora adamantly announces that he will help them to the best of his abilities. Ruruka wonders if he has any plans for tomorrow and reluctantly requests him to do something together. Well, this something just so happens to be a mock battle. Ruruka mentions how Sora moved like an amateur against the wolves and still was able to take them down using their vital points. Ruruka thought that by having this duel, she could figure out his mysterious abilities. She immediately lunged forth to attack him. Sora blocks her heavy attack and is reduced to taking the back foot. With both her swords raised, Ruruka leaves open her back, allowing Sora to strike with the assistance of his swordsmanship skill. However, he is shocked when Ruruka manages to block the attack with one of her swords, successfully parrying the attack. Sora loses the battle in an instant and falls to the ground in awe of her skill. Ruruka compliments his speed but thinks that he's far too predictable in his fights. Sora's attention, however, is directed at the spirit Fluff who seems to be hovering in the air. He recalls that it's the same one from the forest and also notes that others can't see it. The spirit beast vanishes in an instant, leaving Ruruka and Chris to wonder if he's gone mental as they can't see the spirit beast in front of them. Ruruka and the others decide to polish Sora's skills as he needs to become even stronger before walking across the world. Bro, they think our boy got rocked so hard he became Delulu. Ruruka asks if the boy has ever camped before. Sora is embarrassed to state that he never has. Ruruka decides that they should take a goblin bounty quest with the goal of training and camping. Sora wonders if he is holding them back as they should be taking on higher level quests according to their ranks, but Ruruka believes that it's only a gift for his help in the forest. She also advises him to watch out for something important while taking on a long quest, which is to prepare 6 days worth of supplies, including food and medicine, as the rewards would always cover the costs associated with the expenses. She advised him to buy the necessary items as they would be setting off tomorrow. That night at his inn, Sora reflects on leaving tomorrow and becomes nervous at the thought of camping. He is unable to sleep and feels like a little kid excited for a school trip. Sora is surprised when the fluffy spirit animal from before pops out to meet him. Sora is perplexed to wonder if the creature can understand him and wants to pet the fluff ball, only to receive an annoyed reaction. Sora is glad to welcome the beast and eventually sleeps, waiting for tomorrow. Ruruka, Sora, and Chris welcome the beautiful morning and set foot outside. Sora knows that his fluffy friend has disappeared but thinks that it will return to him soon. The guard inspects their ID and knows that these guys aren't strong, so he wishes them luck on their adventures. Sora, Ruruka, and Chris venture outside to head towards Sai Village as their destination. The trip is going to be 3 days of walking, and it's only been a couple of hours since they embarked on this journey. Sora comes across a fluffy grass field and wants to bury himself in it, but suppresses his desire for the sake of the journey. Ruruka notices his sadness and immediately dives into the field, allowing the three to have some fun and clean up with Sora's magic. Sora also notes that his magic does consume mana points whenever he uses his abilities. He notices that there are various types of skills. Some use mana points, while others use stamina points. There were also skills that didn't use either point. His daily life magic consumes mana points, while appraisal and sensing were active skills and consumed stamina while in use. His physical enhancement and swordsmanship don't really use anything, even when deploying the skill. He also recalls how if he uses a skill after SP and MP reach 0, then Sora faints. He finds it strange that while walking, his skills won't even use stamina points, which is why he can constantly use his sensing skills. Sora thinks that as long as he is walking, the effect of not facing tiredness is constantly active. Using two skills at the same time is different, however, as then even walking won't save him from his stamina points. Sora is captivated to find the different benefits of his mere walking skill, while Ruruka and the others observe beautiful butterflies. Upon using his appraisal skill, Sora finds that it's not actually a butterfly but rather a flying plant. Sora tells the others that it's a plant and wants to try out the honey from it. Chris also rises up to try the honey. Ruruka catches the first plant and they use the tube from the top to drink the honey. All three of the party members are absolutely taken aback by its flavorful taste and decide to try out the wings. Rurika calls for a break for their first camping meal with the party. Sora, Rurika, and Chris immediately get to their meal and create a butterfly grass salad. They dig in to eat the food and find it deliciously crunchy. Rurika's eyes are captured by a black cow as she and Chris pounce in to defeat the beast. With their coordinated assault, Rurika and Chris extract milk and surprisingly don't kill the creature. Rurika states that they aren't killing the creatures if it's not necessary after all. They also found some bird eggs. Mixing the cow milk and the bird eggs with the butterfly grass's nectar, it was enough to give birth to a delicious and innovative French toast meal. Sora is just completely swooned by its smell and once again finds this strange world far more pleasing to be in. They eat their meal under the vastness of the blue sky, finding joy in the ecstatic food. Sora spots the cute little fluff once more and secretly feeds the animal. Over Chris's end, she thinks about how she's unable to have a conversation with Sora even though they are on an adventure together. Rurika notes this and knows that her friend is nervous. She conveniently jumps up a story about space magic and allows Chris to take over the conversation from there. Chris blurts out that space magic is quite different from what she thinks and enters the conversation. Chris is flustered to say anything more, so her friends motivate the girl to speak up. Chris explains that spatial magic is one that allows the user to freely manipulate space, and then there is storage magic, which is an application of said magic. She states how time actually stops for the stored items, allowing them to be eaten fresh at all times. Man, that is the best ability ever. Chris ends up over-explaining and thinks that she's talking too much, but Sora finds her charming and grows his fascination for spatial magic. Sora reflects on how it wasn't on the list of skills that could be learned from his status bar, and wonders about his skill points. He asks Chris if his daily life magic is the same as the others. Chris tells him that it's like learning magic suddenly one day, which means that learning a particular spell all depends upon luck. The spell books are there, but they are written in special characters, making it difficult for the person to learn. Sora is thankful for her explanation and wonders what he should do to change the atmosphere. The boy stupidly makes a pun and finds himself embarrassed. Bro got no one laughing with that joke. After that, the group walked for a bit while having their breaks, even though Sora wasn't tired at all, thanks to his main skill. He wonders how much distance they covered up until now and strangely looks back as if he's observing someone's presence. Rurika and Chris are unsure why he's looking back, but Sora knows that because of his presence detection skill, he has always felt like someone has been watching him from the shadows. Whoa, stalker alert. He wonders if it were the people of the royal castle and thinks that they wouldn't go so far as to monitor someone they just kicked out. Sora uses his skill points to acquire appraisal inhibition and continues his journey. Rurika tells them that they should set camp near the tree, which floods Sora's mind with joy as his first camping experience. Rurika thinks that they should prepare dinner and first share their skills so that they can cooperate better in an emergency. She introduces her skills as physical enhancement and enemy detection, while Chris has daily life magic, fire magic, and wind magic. Rurika tells Sora that he doesn't have to say every skill's name as they, too, hid some of their own. Sora wonders what skills he should tell them. Lol, he's trying to gatekeep the skills so bad. He reveals having daily life magic and transportation, as in walking. They quickly prepare food, and Rurika tells him that their usual food is preserved meals. Spatial magic was handy in the sense that it could especially preserve things in such a way. With the sun setting down, Rurika thinks that it's best for them to go to sleep with one person keeping watch each night. She assigns this duty to Sora, who is glad to take up the offer and thinks that he won't be tired at all thanks to his walking skills. Rurika and Chris eventually go to sleep, but Rurika comes back to have a private conversation with Sora. She begins the conversation and congratulates him for his work on the first day of camp. Rurika states that she was nervous for him because of his first experience, but it wasn't needed in the end. Sora is glad to be of service and praises Rurika and Chris for being so experienced. He asks if they have been traveling for 3 years and if there was any positive impression left on them in those years. Rurika thinks about the question and answers that the Empire's arena was one, as she's only been able to see it once. But she didn't like it because it felt forceful to watch a spectacle. Rurika thinks that there are also a lot of good things as she feels happy seeing the smiles of her happy clients. Sora is captivated by her attitude and understands the same feeling upon his own quest completions. Rurika thanks him for talking to Chris as it is the first time that she's seen Chris talk to someone other than her in such a way. She's glad the two of them are on good terms. Sora appreciates the support of the two of them. However, Rurika coldly states that if he were to ever hurt Chris, she would never forgive him. Her serious response made Sora nervous as they bid each other goodnight. Sora thinks about her words another time and knows that he doesn't want to hurt the people he likes. He recalls how, in Japan, he shared no relationship with any girl and wonders what he should do. As always, the fluffy friend comes to his solitude and ends up burning himself a little. Honestly, girl turned into a psycho for 2 seconds right there. The fluffy beast directs him to the beautiful sky. Sora takes a look and is left in awe of the view, realizing that it's his first time working with someone at a party and also coming to another world. He wants to get to know such people in his own way and values his dear friends in sincere admiration. Sora's eyes peer open to find the 2 girls greeting him in kind. Urika quickly prepares some bread while Chris asks if Sora needs any help. She ends up using cleaning magic of her own and refreshes him instantly before leaving. Urika's group continues their adventure while Sora spots how his level has gone up once more. He sees the spatial magic skill finally being added to his list of learnable skills. Sora realizes that it's the same skill that can store things that aren't easily carried. He immediately takes it and decides to store something at once. When he tries to do that, Sora finds himself against a wall as his skill is too low to store an object of such size. Sora thinks that he should store emergency leftover food in the meantime and also obtains parallel thinking along with natural recovery skills. Sora thinks to keep his new skills a secret from the group and hopes to level them up first. Sora, Rurika, and Chris travel for 2 more days before finding the village deep in the forest. Rurika states that Sai Village is run by people who cycle forestry as their business. They finally bear witness to the spectacle of Sai Village and immediately become worried by its ruined state. A young boy comes crying, begging for the help of the adventurers. Sora and his party trail behind him and arrive in front of an elder who apologizes to them and thanks them for coming. The elder states that the hordes of goblins have terrorized them for days on end as they are reaching their limits. Urika points out that the request only mentioned the arrival of 5 goblins, but the elder clarifies that the number began exceeding every passing day, reducing the village in such a state. Urika argues that he should have rewritten a new request form, and the elder has no words but to apologize for his mistake. Rurika questions the exact number of goblins, and the elder is horrified to state that the exact number is 30 whole goblins. Old Geezer gaslighted these guys, what the heck? Sora and his friends rest under the village's care while he remembers their conversation with the village chief, who told them that the goblins usually attacked every few days and would likely appear in about 3 to 4 days again. Urika mentioned that they would rest for the night and instead head to their den in the morning. Sora has bad feelings about this because he has to yet again take a creature's life. The young boy from before comes to thank him and begins to cry, wallowing in the miseries of the village because of the goblins. Sora also observes the wounds on the boy's arm and instantly uses his potions to nourish it back to full health. He tells the boy to share the potion with the other villagers despite the potion's price. The young boy thanks him for his help, which gives Sora newfound motivation to fight. Finally, the day of their battle finally arrives. Sora, Rurika, and Chris receive the prayers of the villagers as they embark on this battle. Rurika notes the multiple presences to the southwest and thinks that they are close. She also apologizes to Sora as his first monster hunt turned out to be a sham. Sora doesn't think of it much and believes in his honest resolve to get rid of the goblins for the sake of the villagers. They go over their plan, which basically comprises Chris hitting the goblins with her magic in order to confuse them. With their panic, they will come racing out of the den, allowing Rurika to cut them down piece by piece. From then on, Chris and Rurika will deal with the majority of the goblins, while Sora will focus on the few who try to make their escape. Sora recalls the horror as he's only seen pictures of the goblins wildly rampaging, except they look so weak in this world. He is engulfed by his fear of taking a sentient being's life as it stares him down. Rurika senses the hesitation in his actions and reminds him that they would only destroy the village in its current state, ridding the villagers of work, food, and places to live. She swings her blade to fight away that fate and reminds him that he should fight for those who suffered. Sora strengthens his resolve and immediately cuts apart one of the goblins as a response. Sora slashes the goblins with his blade, finishing off the last of the bunch. Rurika notes that he's bleeding and doesn't want to use a potion to heal his wound. Chris personally tends to his wound and puts a bandage over it. After that, they gathered the corpses of the goblins and set fire to them to prevent the attraction of the nearby beasts, as a ritual for those who perished. Rurika reports the subjugation of 34 whole goblins, receiving the gratitude of the village chief for saving their village. She also tells him not to swindle his requests any longer. The village chief offers them a stay in order to enjoy their hospitality. That night, Rurika, Sora, and Chris enjoyed the festivities of the villagers. Sora meets the same boy again, who thanks him for taking care of the goblins and securing their village. He vows to become a strong adventurer just like him in the future, something that Sora admires as he bucks him up for the future. With that, Sora reflects on having killed a creature with his own 2 hands, and even though they did a lot of terrible things, he was hesitant at first. He wanted to protect the smiles of the people and realized that this was a day he would never forget in his life. Urarka and Chris quickly dig in to eat delicious bacon while Sora notes the fluffy beast tailing him again. The village chief presents them with bacon, which actually vanishes in thin air in front of the villagers, thanks to the fluffy spirit. Hahaha, that little spirit said "K, thanks, bye." They're all shocked to realize that it may be the work of a spirit. The villagers are stunned to wonder where the spirit is and are unable to catch hold of it. Sora notes how the animal simply ran away, leaving Urarka to wonder what these guys are even talking about. The village chief explains that this phenomenon is often known as a fairy's prank or an offering to the spirits. It is said that in the year of its occurrence, the whole forest grows in abundance, and livestock grows healthy without disease. Urarka and the others are amazed by this explanation as they celebrate their day. Sora wonders about the specifics of his fluffy friend and turns to Chris to ask about fairies and spirits, who confirm that these beings exist and also look like small humans who have wings on their backs. They are known to speak the human language as well and often love playing tricks on people. I bet this fluffball is a prankster. They also like elves and have no determined form. Sora is captivated by her knowledge and realizes that Chris knows a lot about magic. Sora thinks that the chances of his fluffy friend being a real spirit are really high, while, at the same time, it could be something entirely different. Urarka happily invites them to share the village meat as a gift from the village chief, who has no issues with them taking the food as they are saviors of the village. Sora asks about the specifics of the meat, and the village chief explains his own process in detail. Sora wants to buy some of the wood because he has grown a fascination for the meat and wants to try making it. The village chief offers him to take as many as he likes, and Sora grabs quite a bit of a stack only to send it away with his storage magic. Urarka and Chris are shocked to note that he just used such magic. Urarka is in awe because even high-ranking parties want that kind of spell. Sora requests for them to keep his spatial magic a secret. Urarka suggests otherwise, as he could get a new reward for simply having a skill, and can also join a higher-ranking party. Sora exclaims that even with his spatial magic, he is still super weak and would eventually weigh them down by becoming a burden to them. Sora is motivated to gain new experience with his current party and keeps himself a part of their gang. Sora also blurts out how if he joined another party, they would part ways, which is the opposite of what he wants. Urarka and Chris both thanked him in their own ways and talked about the cooking recipe for the meat. Sora shares how he likes cooking from time to time, thanks to his experiences with his mother, while Urarka expects great meals on their way home. The very next morning, they left Sai village and took the road back home. Sora reflects on how the villagers ended up sharing some supplies for the return trip. They find a location to set camp, where Sora is the star of the party and hopes to prepare food for them. After taking his time with the available ingredients, Sora manages to wind up fried potatoes along with bacon, giving them a feast of their lives. Urarka and Chris are astonished by his cooking, while Sora states how his mother believed that even boys should know how to cook at this age. Sora and Chris apparently turn to Urarka for a final opinion on Chris' soup compared to Sora's meals, and she announces both of them as winners. Hahaha, Urarka be wingmanning all the way through. Sora wants to go on many adventures with the group and asks Urarka and Chris how long they are going to stay in the country. The girls share that they'll stay up until rank C and eventually move to another country. Urarka believes that they are far too weak and need to make more requests before their rank up, which means they'll be staying here for a while. Urarka and Chris are optimistic enough to share how much fun they're having with Sora around, and they hope to work with him for a little while longer. Sora is pessimistic on his end and thinks that the time of their parting is near. He wants to raise his levels and skills so that he can survive on his own so that he can say goodbye with a smile. Mikaru welcomes the group home as they make it back at last. She is shocked to learn of the existence of the many goblins, even though the initial request only stated 5. Urarka asks about the appearance of the wolves, and Mikaru explains that they've all been subjugated instantly, reducing their troubles. Mikaru, however, mentions that there was a high-grade monster leading the pack, and while normally the subjugation would take time, because of the B rank and C rank parties, they managed to defeat the monster quickly. Sora and the others are shocked to learn the existence of the high-grade wolf who was never seen before around the capital. Urarka decides to rest up for the days ahead while Sora meets his fluffy fellow once more. Back at his inn, Sora decides to rest and reflects on his first ever subjugation request. He recalls the experience vividly and thinks how he would have died if not for his friends. Even though such goblins were weak on their own, their numbers can prove to be troublesome. Sora desires to get stronger by training and improving his swordsmanship. He also wants his skills to increase in level and, most importantly, walk a lot more to gather XP points. Sora excitedly jumps to the realization that he did, in fact, walk a lot in his previous quest, which means he amassed quite a bit of experience points. When he commands to open his status screen, he is delighted to meet level 20 and realizes that his skills have shot up as well. He thinks that it is worth walking around and using them and believes that parallel thinking and recovery improvement are two important skills. The first skill allows him to concentrate on two different matters at once, allowing him to sleep with one side of the brain while using his presence detection on the other. Sora was worried back then, but his natural recovery improvement allowed him to heal up pretty quickly, too, allowing even HP, MP, and SP points to recover over time. Sora thinks that he was nothing when he came to this world, but now, he has new skills and good friends, allowing him a fresher start in life. That's when he stares down at the number of experience points needed for his next level up. Sora realizes that after level 20, he needs about 20,000 experience points for each and every level. It only means it would get harder for him to level up each time, so gathering skill points will take a while. Even though Sora wants to learn new skills, he thinks that his current is enough and there is a lot for him to think about. He undoes his bandage and finds himself fully recovered in accordance with his skill. Sora remembers being taken care of by Chris and is flustered at the thought. Even his fluffy spirit makes fun of him for falling in love. Hahaha, look at that little prankster. Sora remembers that they have nothing planned for tomorrow, which makes him want to take smaller quests. He finds it the perfect opportunity to use the appraisal skill on the spirit, except his inspection instantly fails. Bro, I'm telling you this little dude is secretly overpowered. A few weeks quickly fly by ever since their goblin subjugation. Sora is delighted to chow down at the butcher's shop and happens to feed his pet along with him, who seems to be loving the food of the royal capital. The spirit flies away whenever it spots the royal castle for some strange reason, making the boy wonder if it feels some unpleasant presence peering from the castle. Sora turns up to Siphon and Arco at the guild, where they share a drink and wait for Rurika and Chris to arrive. Arco peeves the boy for pairing up with two beauties by himself, but Sora has nothing else to say except to share details about his adventures with the two. He's been hunting various animal types and he's also been going off on his own to do delivery quests. Siphon notes how they're quite efficient for herb gathering as well and wonders if they found a good spot when in reality, it's just Sora's appraisal skill which he refuses to reveal because he doesn't want to catch much attention. Arco defiantly chimes in, as he wants to know about the boy's relationship with the two charming beauties. Arco believes that Rurika is an energetic type with her looks, while Chris is passive and considerate of the other person. Sora obviously denies any involvement in such a manner as best he can. Siphon thinks that the boy is definitely someone he is interested in, and Sora finds himself far too flustered to even give a proper answer. That's when Rurika and Chris arrive, and matters get worse for him. Sora wants to leave, but Arco insists that he stay for a bit. Obviously, Arco quickly spots how Sora and Chris are being awkwardly distant from each other. He plays the ultimate wingman and jumps right to Chris, asking her if she has any boyfriend around. Sora loses his marbles at his insensitive question, while he believes that it's only natural for him to ask as long as she's not Sora's lover. Arco is quite brazen with his advances, forcing Rurika to slam his head into the table for being in such a way. Well deserved too, hate this guy already. They finish their drinks and turn up to the requests board, wondering what they should do next time. Rurika wants to discuss something important. She tells Sora that they're nearing C rank after their next quest, which means they will definitely leave this country. She bids him farewell in advance, which is something Sora doesn't want to accept, and thinks that their time will move on, one moment after the other. Completing their quest, Sora finds himself ranking up to rank D while the girls both reach rank C. Sora thinks that this is as far as their party would go and asks where Rurika and Chris are headed next. Rurika explains that they're going to be taking an escort mission to the city of Phesis, and head right into the beast kingdom of Ras. Sora wonders what kind of quest an escort mission is. He kindly requests to tag along with the two on that quest, stating that he wants to gain experience with escort experiences and will take the carriage back to the capital upon reaching Phesis. Rurika and Chris are glad to welcome him on board. One way to Phesis takes about 10 days, and with Mikaru worried because of the nature of the C rank quest, Sora is allowed to participate in the journey as well. With 5 days remaining until the escort mission, Rurica and Chris rest while Sora is unable to shake off his uneasy feeling. He has been taking on more delivery quests to keep himself occupied. He opts to deliver the last item on the 3rd Northern Street when he finds Arco having fun in the Pleasure District. The boy is flustered and wants to turn face, and Arco adds to his suffering. Sora makes his great escape and thinks that he should head home after his deliveries. That's exactly when he spots Chris alone in the entertainment district as the man pulls her in. Sora shouts for her as she comes running to him. She thanks him for saving his life, while Sora wonders what she's even doing here. They both have the same questions as to why they're here, with Chris especially wondering if he's about some bad business on his own. Sora clarified that he had come for delivery, and Chris stated that she needed to talk about something important with Rurica. They come together at the coffee shop, and Rurica scolds Chris for going by herself to the slave trader. Chris explains her side of acting independently, but Rurica warns her to be careful of dangerous places. Sora notes how Rurica is really angry at her this time. Sora butts in to ask what they want to talk about. Chris and Rurica decide to share their secret. They've actually been traveling in search of someone, specifically their childhood friend, whom they separated from during the war. Chris begins to explain how, 10 years ago, the very first town that got attacked was their hometown. Sora, Eris, Chris, and Rurica were a group of 4 who banded together until the kingdom of Borshale attacked their hometown. The elder told them to run as the enemy soldiers were coming. She advised them to escape to the forest at once. The public immediately descended into chaos, with Sora and the others being separated from each other. Rurica and Chris met up with each other, and despite their long wait, they never got to meet with the other 2 friends. Sadly, that is the reason they are traveling across the world in order to find their precious 2 friends. Sora acknowledges their traumatic past, as from their group of childhood friends, only Rurica and Chris were confirmed to be safe. Is someone cutting onions here? Why am I tearing up? Rurica and Chris look out for each other for that reason, and Sora thanks them for sharing their secret. He asks if they know of any leads to find their friends, with Rurica answering that they were children captured in the war and often sold as slaves to various places. She thinks that if they got captured and sold as slaves, they wouldn't know which country their friends would end up in. That is their motivation to become adventurers as they seek to look for their friends. That's why Chris went to the slave merchant for a favor before leaving the capital. She even gave the man some money, except he nearly brought her into a dangerous situation just because of the attempt. Sora thinks that even though it was the right place to search for leads, he earnestly asks why the 2 believe that their friends are alive even though it's been a decade. Chris and Rurica reveal a special item called a spirit amulet. They were given to the 4 by their granny to connect them and clutch onto the hope that their friends were still alive. They don't know for sure and still seek to continue their travels. Sora reflects how by forming a party with Rurica and Chris, he already knew that these girls were valuable and reliable companions. But they have even more resilient sides to them than he thought, as becoming an adventurer meant one would be surrounded by danger, while they continued to look for their lost friends. Man, these guys are real as heck. Sora takes pride in being in their party and states that he too would be looking for leads on Sora and Eris on his side. Rurica and Chris assure him that it's not necessary, but Sora has found himself motivated to really help his friends. Chris and Rurica tear up in memory of their friends and weep while thanking Sora for his kindness. Oh, the perfect trio. 3 days are left until the escort mission. Sora wakes up and thinks that he still feels like someone has been watching him several times. He wonders why they would monitor him, and that's why he picked up a new skill called concealment just to be safe. He also grabbed alchemy and cooking skills and still doesn't know why he's being watched. Sora also thinks that cooking is a necessary skill to navigate through this world, and he muses about how he's heading to the forest to collect herbs again and try his new skills. Sora makes a stop and uses his spatial magic skill to eat the bacon, only to find out that it's caught mold. Sora realizes that his spatial magic is quite low in level as time isn't stopping for the food time. He decides to make some bacon using pork and wolf meat, preparing everything with his cooking skills and also spotting Machiwo animals. He finds them super cute and uses his concealment skills to get close. With such a skill, he is able to pet the little small animals safely, except his own spirit seems to be jealous of his disloyalty and flies away. Sora manages to wrap up the perfect meal and thinks it's quite delicious. He wants to try out his alchemy skill next, gathering medical herbs and infusing some mana inside, popping open a potion to heal. After using his appraisal skill to inspect, Sora is all too surprised that even though it's low quality, the potion is quite usable and something he totally made by himself. He heals his splinter with ease and thinks that the recovery effect is just average. Sora hopes to form higher quality potions and tries to use his ability again, except he is unsuccessful in the end. He also wonders if drinking the potion is better. That doesn't turn out well for the boy as he spits out the potion due to its bitter taste. Sora thinks that he's not going to drink any of them any longer. Tastes so bad my boy said nah forever. Upon the morning of the escort mission, Sora leveled up his storage magic and was able to put all of his stuff inside. He gets ready to go off on his way. Sora prepared a lot before leaving, making many meals for himself and also training on the side. He raised his levels and can even read some of the occupation lists that were unreadable up to this point. Sora still can't read everything and wants to level up more. Chris and Rurika welcome him as he notes how there's an abundance of people in the area, with 7 horse wagons and 5 escorting parties. Dalton meets their acquaintance and thanks the group for accepting the escort quest as the leader of the caravan. He explains the route to the party, stating that their mission will also be supervised by the C-ranked party known as the Goblin's Grief. Surprisingly, this party consists of Siphon himself, who surprises Sora on this adventure. Siphon announces himself as the leader of the Goblin's Grief and wants to brief his newbies on the escort missions. Siphon explains that it will be a long trip, and basically, their only mission is to guard the carriage from incoming monsters and bandits along the way. Sora is excited to hop onto his first mission as the gates of their adventure finally open. Siphon thinks that while escort missions seem to be easy at first, one has to be cautious of their surroundings all the time as it's quite a tough quest. The looming pressure of a penalty also hovers above as if the cargo is damaged or stolen, which poses a problem. Siphon thinks that being totally upbeat about the quest means one is a plain idiot, or maybe they're showing some real promise, which will soon become clear to them. An hour floats by, with Sora and his fellow members being suspicious of every cart that goes by. They're all surprised to note that Sora doesn't seem to be tired at all despite being new to this type of quest. Obviously, they are unaware of his special skill, and he's also able to detect the presence of evil forces in other carts thanks to his presence detection. Sora is happy to gain experience in the escort missions and happens to be walking a lot, yet again, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. With 10 hours flying by since their departure, Siphon thinks that they should set up camp immediately. The entire group falls flat in exhaustion to his surprise, except our boy Sora is still up and ready without any signs of exhaustion. Siphon asks Sora to help him set up camp, surprising the others with his endless stamina.